Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the next installment of our Connecting Communities and Schools webinar series. Today, we're presenting on how to be an award-winning school for student health. This is part one of a two-part series because we just have a lot of amazing educators and schools to highlight in this area. So we knew we needed 2 months to do it. While y'all are trickling in, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself in the chat as soon as it is enabled for y'all. You guys have been very gracious with us the past couple of months while we have been sort of changing some roles behind the scenes with our tech support, and we've been learning a lot about Zoom. So just thank y'all so much. But again, welcome to the next installment if you're just now logging on. How to be an award-winning school for student health. Again, this is part one of a two-part series. So we hope to see you this month and next month. And again, if you just wouldn't mind introducing yourself in the chat, where you're coming from, your organization, that would be really helpful. And the chat is on. Thank you, Meg. So moving to our next slide, my name is Erica Ayers. I am the school wellness consultant at the South Carolina Department of Public Health with the Nutrition, Physical Activity, and Obesity Prevention section. And I also have the honor of serving as the executive director for the Governor's Council on Physical Fitness. And I'm joined today behind the scenes with Carrie Hollyfield with MUSC Boeing Center for Children's Wellness, as well as Meg Stanley at Wholespire. They will be behind the scenes providing tech support for us this morning. So really appreciate Carrie and Meg. So if you want to show them some love for them keeping us straight during this morning together, really appreciate it. Moving to the next slide. So in case you are new here, this webinar series came as a collaboration from the Schools Network and the Governor's Council. We started this webinar series in the spring of 2022, so we are proud to say that we are sharing 4 years of doing this together. If you're not familiar with these two organizations, the mission of the Schools Network is to identify and promote healthy eating and active living strategies in South Carolina public schools that empower key stakeholders and encourage collaboration among those seeking to improve student health and academic achievement. And the Governor's Council's mission is to serve the state by promoting the health and well-being of South Carolinians by advancing physical activity. So because our missions are so similar, that's why we started working together in 2020 and then started offering this webinar series in 2022. If you are brand new to this webinar series, the purpose is to enhance collaboration between schools, communities, using the whole school, whole community, whole child model as a framework to support student health. So on the next slide, you'll see the different components of the WISC model that we'll be touching on today. There will be a core component focus on the physical education, physical activity piece of the WISC model, but it's also going to include community involvement, family engagement, employee wellness, physical environment, and honestly more. So before we kick it off with our two panelists today, I want to briefly introduce them, and then we would like to do a poll to get a better idea of who y'all are today. So today we are being joined by Dr. Jakesha Herring. She's the physical education teacher and site MBC coordinator at Legacy Early College with the South Carolina Public Charter School District. And then also Sean Norris, who's physical education teacher with Satchel Ford Elementary School. So if you would just welcome both of our panelists for the day. And then also Meg, if you'll go ahead and launch our poll. So to help our panelists have a better idea of who their audience is and how they can best tailor their message today, we want to find out who is participating. So you'll see the poll here. Thank you. And Dr. Herring will be sharing her slides with us momentarily, but you see the results from yeah, thank you, Meg. We did like a sneak peek and we shared it earlier. This is fine though. We see that this is at the time um, when it was shared earlier, 30% each participation, and then a good amount of about a third of y'all school district participation, and then educators as well. So again, thank you for participating in that poll and for introducing yourself in the chat. That's very helpful. And so with that, I'm now going to pass it along. Oh, wait, no, I'm going to read her bio first. So Dr. Herring has her slides on the screen. I want you to have a better idea of who Dr. Herring is. So, Dr. Herring is a dedicated leader in health and physical education, currently serving as a physical education instructor, instructional coach, and a health and wellness coordinator at Legacy Early College in South Carolina. With extensive experience in K through 12 education, she is passionate about creating school environments that support the whole child through physical activity, wellness initiatives, and positive school culture. Dr. Herring also serves as an adjunct professor at Southern Wesleyan University, where she prepares future educators in physical education and adapted physical activity. Her work centers on bridging the connection between student health and academic achievement with a focus on practical school-wide strategies that lead to sustainable impact. She has been actively involved in state and national wellness initiatives, including work aligned with the Alliance for Healthier Generation and award-recognized school programs. Her research explores physical education teachers' self-efficacy and evaluation perceptions, further informing her commitment to continuous improvement in teaching and learning. In this session, Dr. Herring brings both research-based insight and real-world application, sharing strategies schools can use to strengthen health initiatives and achieve recognition as high-performing, award-earning schools. Dr. Herring, it's been so great being able to meet you this past year through this PAMI initiative that we worked on together, and it's also such a privilege to be able to share this platform with you to share more. So I'm going to hand it over to you now.
Awesome. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jakisha Herring, just like she said, and I am excited to be presenting to you today about how you can become an award-winning school for student health. I know that my team, they're unable to attend today. When you cancel PE, that's like having to cancel the entire day because that's just how much we focus on the health and wellness of our students. But throughout this entire presentation, you will get a chance to hear their voices as well, not just mine. Because one thing that we believe in right here at Legacy is being a village and having a team to support our mission on students' health. So you will have a chance to hear from them as well. So let's go ahead and get started. I can say that right here at Legacy Early College, every time I take the mic or it's time for me to present, everybody starts to cringe and they start looking around and they're like, what type of activity are they going to have us do today? Or what is she going to do? And that's because I love movement. I'm passionate about seeing not just our scholars move, but our adults move as well. So to show you what becoming an award-winning school is all about, it's not about perfection, but it's about being intentional. It's about being consistent, and it's about being committed to our scholars. So today, what we're going to do is something that we use at Legacy Early College for a whole school initiative to get everybody moving. So it's called a step challenge. With our step challenge, we have many competitions, and the possibilities of these types of challenges to get the movement started, it's endless. For us, we do things like elementary school versus the high school, or 4K versus the middle school, but we keep it up. The parents versus the teachers. It's always an exciting opportunity. So I want you to take a chance to join in with us as well. So if you can, go ahead and scan the QR code. It should take you to an app for the Step Up Challenge. So by the end of this challenge, I would like to spotlight the person with the highest steps. So while the challenge is going on, you may have a chance to just get up and go touch a doorknob and come back. Go grab a sip of water and come back. But by the end, I want to see who has the most steps. So if you have a moment, just take a moment to go ahead and add that app and drop a reaction in the chat once you're ready. I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds, and I'm going to check to see if I have anybody on the list yet. Just scan that QR code. So throughout this presentation, we'll be checking your steps. I won't report them to your district leaders. So while you're still working on that, I'm going to give you a little bit of history about our school. We are a public charter school right here in Greenville, South Carolina. Not only do we model academics, we model excellence, we model nutrition, we model fitness, and The most exciting thing is that we have PE every single day. If I knew how to do like a flip or a black backflip every time I had to say that, I really would, because we have PE every day. We have about 9 specialists across all of our campuses in the health and the physical education sector that help us bring that mission to life, and that's serving our scholars. Our story, it's built on a continuum of growth. We're always growing. We're always trying to find new ways and new resources to leverage so we can be better for our scholars. We are a 3-time award winning recipient of the American Healthiest School, which you're going to hear us reference that quite a bit throughout this presentation. So everything that we do, like I said earlier, it has an alignment. And with the Alliance of Healthier Generations, this is where you can find the application for the American Healthy Schools. And we are very intentional about using those resources that they have embedded into the Alliance to bring out the journey and the mission of health education right here at Legacy. We were also recognized for the first ever PAME Region Award. And all of those awards and recognitions that we have, it comes from these additional leverages that we have. Another leverage is the one through the American Heart Association, the Kids Heart Challenge. You may have heard of that as well. They have a plethora of resources. We use them for our vaping and our tobacco and our CPR, our heart health. It's just endless. But those are the resources that we use in order to leverage the journey for our scholars to be better in the community and serve for health and wellness. A little bit more about our story here at Legacy, because I know I can't go a day without speaking of our founder, Mr. Brown. He set the standard at Legacy. Mr. Brown's vision, it was set for everything that we do, and it is to ensure that our scholars are supported on their journey, and that is the journey to and through college. We want to make sure that everyone has that opportunity to go to college, and having a healthy lifestyle and incorporating those wellness strategies will help them on their journey through that mission. So now we're going to take a closer look at some of the strategies and systems that we use here at Legacy, and how you can also become an award-winning school. But before I jump into that and look into why it matters most, I'm going to take a look at the STEP challenge, and I see Ms. Chloe Crenshaw. Congratulations, Miss Chloe Crenshaw. She has already taken the STEP challenge. And I see you there. Keep moving. And I also see Miss Ebony. Wow, she just jumped in the lead. Maybe she got up and ran to the car real quick, but we want to continue to encourage that competition. So here's the good news about becoming an award-winning school. It does not take these big steps. Just like these steps that you're taking right now in the challenge, these small steps of just getting up, maybe walking to the door, walking to your mailbox every 15 minutes or so, or if you're in your classroom, just getting up and walking around and circulating throughout your classroom. Those are the small steps that it's going to take to become an award-winning school. It has to be embedded into the culture, and it's going to be a strategy for us now. So with our approach here at Legacy, we know that it takes a village. So in the chat, just give us a quick response. How many of you already have a team or a village that you already have set up that you believe is helping you on your own journey through health and wellness? Trying to see if we get some reactions. Okay, well, with the village that you have, that village is going to help you create a system. And with that systems, the best model is going to be your adults. So right now we have a video from our very own
Anderson and Coach House. Can you tell us how we are an award-winning school?
For me, I feel like health and wellness is just a way here at Legacy. They bring you in, we go through orientations that talk about the expectations of health and wellness and to be fit, or just at least trying to be healthier. So you come in with that expectation and you see that that is what
might hear a teacher tell a student, hey, you don't need to eat that type of snack, try this instead. Or you might hear a student tell a teacher, all right, now you shouldn't be drinking that juice. You just told me the other day it had too much sugar in it. And then amongst each other's teachers versus teachers, we do challenges. We have a weight room that opens up 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and stays open as late as 6 or 7 at night. So teachers work out, become workout buddies. Here and there, we'll start workout challenges that might last a week, might last a month. And so during those workout challenges, yes, you're lifting weights, but then what becomes the norm is you want the progress to show. So then you start seeing teachers eat healthy. Me and Coach A just literally talked about a month ago about meal prepping. She bring in the meat, I'll bring in the veggies or fruit. So it just becomes.
You had a chance to hear from our middle school PE teachers, and they are our biggest competition. And when I say I'm at the elementary school, that is our biggest competition. We're always looking for different innovative ways to continue to incorporate that health and wellness mission. And it becomes a culture because it's embedded in us. So what winning schools do differently? So now that you're thinking about it, we already do some of these things. And I'm sure that at your school, you do some competitions as well. Are they intentional though? And are you tracking them? And with those things that you are doing, are they still building the culture? So part of it is about shifting your mindset. So here's a couple of things that what you should be doing and just some things that you should consider to do. So one times events, those things simply fade quickly. So having that mindset of I have this big idea now, but if you can't sustain it throughout the year, maybe that may not be the best event for you. Having those random initiatives. Also, isolating individuals. That's something that you may not want to do, but consider these things when you are on your journey to becoming an award-winning school. Make sure you have those daily practices. Embed those things into your routine and have school-wide events that create consistency. Example, this step challenge that we're doing, now that we've already started it across all of our campuses, some are using these step challenge apps at home. They're doing it with their families. Some actually said they took it over to their church. So it's endless, but you do have to start with that mindset.
All right, Coach Harris, what are the small steps that we take to become an award-winning school?
The small steps that we take to become an award-winning school are the impacts that we make with our students each and every day. Pulling out small groups to having intimate sessions about just everyday life and things that evolve around outside of school and also in school. So not just about our physical health, but also about our mental health as well. So just keeping our scholars engaged in everyday life, everyday activities, and make sure that we are impacting them as adults, giving them an example of what health and wellness looks like. So those are the small steps that we.
Those are the small steps that we take right here at Legacy. And I'm going to continue to show videos of my team because, like I said, I could not have done this without them. All the rewards and all the recognitions that we receive, it's because we have a family, it's because we have a team, and that culture is set that we work together in order to get our scholars on that journey of health and wellness. So the last couple of things that I'm going to share with you are these 5 steps. They're going to be challenging, but they're 5 steps that could help you in becoming an award-winning school. And I'm not just telling you these things. These are the things that we continue to do, and we continue to restructure on our end as well. So just like the step challenge that we started at the beginning of the slides, number 1, you have to set your goal. So what is your goal? What is your goal in becoming a healthy school? For us at Legacy, we had to ask ourselves, what does a healthy school truly look like? What does it look like for our scholars? What does it look like for our families? And what does it look like for our communities? And what I want to do right now is just take a quick pause, because this is not about copying another school's model or checking off the boxes on an application. We use the Alliance for Healthy Generation. There's check boxes. It helps us keep us organized, but we can't copy what some other school is doing. What we did do was model it and make it for ourselves, but it took us to have to set that goal first in order to figure out what that journey and what that path is going to look like. So you don't start walking without knowing your destination. That's step one. For step two, you have to track your steps. And if you are a physical education teacher, or if you're in that section, we know that assessments are key. You can improve on things that you don't track. So I'm going to say that again. You cannot improve on what you do not track. So you have to assess. The Alliance for Healthy Generation, I'm going to keep referring to it because they have a plethora of assessment opportunities for you to use in order to assess, in order for you to gain feedback. And when you're getting feedback, this is not the opportunity for you to maybe shed some bad light onto your school. You have to know what your strengths are, and you also have to know what those gaps are. So you can improve what you don't track. That's step two. Let's take a look from Coach Sherban about how we use some other assessments.
Hello, Coach Sherban.
Hi.
How do we use assessments across all campuses?
Our main assessment is going to be the fitness gram. So we give that to our scholars in elementary school 3 times a year. And then by the end of the year, we're able to take the information from the assessments and communicate that with the middle and high school so they can know what they need to work on when it comes to planning for the year, when it comes to thinking of different activities. So if there's something that we need to work on down here, we can give that to them and tell them they need to work on it up there too. And that way.
So assessment, and I'm sorry her video got cut off, but she is definitely right about how we use assessments and how we continue to push those assessments to our other schools and our other campuses. All right. If we take a look at step three is when it really comes together. And if you notice, I can only share you stuff about my team. This is where you build your team. It takes a village. It takes the teachers. It takes the admins. It takes the families. It takes the communities. You need walking partners. So right now, I'm going to check this app again to see who's where and who has joined us. So right now, I see that Erica, you must have been running during the whole presentation because she's over 3,600 steps. Congratulations, Erica. That is what we need to build our team. So for our school, even using this step challenge, we include our custodians. Our custodians, he gets, there's one in particular, he gets over 24,000 steps a day. When other teachers saw that, that encouraged them to also get up and get moving and be a part of the journey, which also transitions over to our scholars when they see them throughout the day. So start to begin your team or building your team. With step 4, it takes the daily steps. It will take daily steps. You have to focus on the system, not just something that's going to be a one-time thing and then you get rid of it. It is a long walk. It's the steps that you take every single day in becoming a healthy school.
All right, today we have Coach Ross. He is our high school PE teacher, and we're asking him what makes Legacy an award-winning school.
Legacy is an award-winning school, promoting health and wellness for the simple fact of we watch what kids eat. There's certain things that they cannot eat at the school. When it comes to the PE department, health and wellness is huge. We make sure we promote that every day with our activities and our lesson plans. And for one, when we go outside of the PE department, our athletics, we have promoted. Now we have a bike club, we have a swim team, we have a tennis team, we have a track team, and just promoting everything that's good us for health and wellness. And,
that was Coach Ross. He's our high school PE teacher. And now we've reached step 5 of this challenge, With step 5, you want to celebrate and you want to recognize the growth that you've made along this journey of becoming an award-winning school. You want to share stories, you want to share data, you want it to have an impact. Throughout this presentation, I've been sharing stories about my different team members at different levels, at different areas, and even seasoned teachers. You want to celebrate those areas. You want to celebrate the students. You want them to share those stories. That will help you along the journey. So now let's hear from the
All right,
scholars.
today we have Coach Dunlap, and we also have one of our amazing high school scholars. The question that we are asking them is, how is Legacy an award-winning school for health education? And we'll start with Coach Dunlap.
I think that Legacy offers an award-winning education as far as health and wellness, because we are not only providing our scholars with health education when it either comes to fitness, we talk about taking care of the body nutritionally, but we also allow our staff, even our parents, to come in and work out. So it is organizational wide effort. It's just not, oh, we want our scholars to be active, we want our teachers to be active, we want our families to be active as well.
Coming from a student perspective, I would say they really focus on trying to benefit us in a way that they know like what we're eating. A lot of schools don't do that. They really get into the amount of carbs, protein, anything in particular to make sure that our heart's healthy. And leashing off of the fitness area, they really get into us working out as well, just to put that we can come and work out as well with our parents. We have a fitness center. We have different training areas and just different ways in different areas.
So that was a piece from one of our scholars, as well as our strength and conditioning coach at Legacy. So your step challenge, it does start now. It starts right now. Award-winning schools, they are built step by step. So what will be your first step that you're going to take? With this webinar, we had the step challenge. So it is that time to do step 4, and we want to celebrate our step challenge winner. And our step challenge winner today, with 3,636 steps, goes to Miss Erica Ayers. So congratulations, Miss Erica. Can we please give her applause in the chat? Excellent. I've talked about a few different frameworks, and I wanted to make sure that you also receive those resources to help at your school. So the one that I spoke mostly about is the Alliance for Healthier Generations. It's also where you can find the Healthy Schools application. The QR code for that is there. If you are already familiar with it, you know that the due date for the application was on yesterday, and congratulations to all those who had a chance to complete it. We also use the American Heart Association with the Kids Heart Challenge, a plethora of information. And regardless of your grade level, if you're serving elementary or secondary, there are a lot of resources that you can use with the American Heart Association. And then we are also part of the Leader in Me to help us continue to leverage some of the resources that we have, and not only be leaders, but leaders for our scholars as well. And that's all I have for you today. And again, my name is Jakisha Herring, and I'm right here at Legacy Early College. And if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to reach out. We are more than welcome to help, because we are all on this journey for our scholars.
Thank you, Dr. Herring. I have to say that it included the steps from my morning walk this morning, so that is the only reason why I won. Like I would not have joined if I knew that I was going to be the automatic winner. So, but I have to tell you that was a lot of fun. I have to facilitate a lot of virtual meetings, And I'm actually co-facilitating a 3-hour virtual meeting next month. And as you can imagine, that's not the easiest task. And so for sure, I will be using your step challenge at the beginning of my meeting and doing some check-ins throughout. So I really appreciate you sharing that, Dr. Herring. That was, if that's what I'm walking away from today, that's my next step, is to figure out how I can use that for some team building in my meetings.
Yes, everything. Thank you.
Dr. Herring, I also just want to point out, I really appreciate your examples of how your school has done a phenomenal job of embedding health and wellness into your school culture. It's very clear and it's very intentional in everything that you do and everything that you shared with us today. And what you shared with us really was a roadmap of how to get this started and how to do it. And I really, and this is a little bit biased for me because I do co-work on SC Fitnessgram with my colleague Brianna Milling, but I love the fact that you're a PE teacher, especially your PE teacher at the elementary level. Yes, they're using that Fitnessgram data to tailor their classroom, but they're also sharing it with the middle school and high school so that there is this seamless evolution of tailored curriculum for these students as they move along through their different school levels to make sure that we're meeting their unique needs to set them up for the best success as it in regards to their physical fitness, but also the other benefits that's going to have for them. So again, I just really appreciate how intentional your team is and how well y'all work together. And thank you for being a model in our state for that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And if y'all have any questions for Dr. Herring, y'all can drop them in the chat that she can respond to there, or you can put them in the Q&A and we can ask at the end. Thank you, Dr. Herring. And so now we're going to reintroduce physical education teacher Sean Norris. He is with Satchel Ford Elementary School and Richland School District 1. Sean is going to be introducing himself, but I just want to share before I hand it over to him that I told Sean this has been getting ready for this webinar has been the first time that we've been able to formally introduce ourselves to each other. But I have been hearing Sean's name for years, pretty much since I started working in this field in school wellness back in 2012. I was hearing Sean's name and all the amazing work that he's doing with the teachers he works with, as well as in his school. So Sean, it's just a great privilege to actually be able to meet you finally and to be able to share all this great work that you are doing on this platform so we can share it with others. So with that, thank you, Sean, and I'm going to hand it over to you.
Well, thank you, Erica. I appreciate it. I'll just start with our first screen. If we'll move to personal information, the next one. So when you know about what we do here, it's a family thing. And so I challenge my kids. I want to get to know them, so I have them know me. I've been married 27 years to an educator, my best friend Megan. She's a kindergarten teacher. I have 2 kids, Hannah, who's, like I said, 24. She's teaching at Homeland Park Elementary in Anderson at a Title I school. And my son, Jonah, he's the subject of many stories around the school. He's a junior that plays football at Newberry College. A little bit about my professional career, just so you know where I'm coming from there. The next slide. I'm a graduate of South Carolina a few times. I've got a background in sports medicine. That's what I thought I was going to do in the beginning, but the Lord really put it on my heart that working with kids is what I really need to do. And so I got my master's in physical education, my national boards. I got the administration, but the real highlight is I've spent 17 years working in a Title I school, which is really where I cut my teeth and learning how to teach the craft in Columbia. And I've spent the last 10 years at a Blue Ribbon school. And the really neat thing about that, those 2 experiences, I've taught both extremes of our school district and I found ways to make both of those work. One just took a little longer than the other. Some other key parts, I've been an after school coordinator, which has really helped supplement our PE and health programs for 20 years. And if we can go to the next slide. So when I started at Hyatt Park Elementary, I walked in the first day and it was a little chaotic. There hadn't been necessarily a big program in place or whatever, and kids. I remember coming up to the very first time we were going to do our Fitnessgram test, and I was pretty excited to see how they do, and it did not turn out well at all because there was not a lot of enthusiasm or effort that was going into doing the test in the beginning. And so I took that information that first year and I said, how can we make this something kids are going to enjoy and like, and what we would do. And I thought, what would make me want to do this test? And so the first idea that I came up with, and when you'll see a reoccurring theme is when there's an issue or a problem, we try to come up with innovative solution. And the very first one was our Pacer Run certificates. And basically what that was when they came into class, the first thing we needed to do was we needed to have the kids run, because they usually came from chaos to the door. And if I tried to sit them down and give a set induction classically, that was not going to work. So what we did was we're going to start running in the beginning, get them a little tired, and then do the set induction and get going. And so we started with the Pacer Run, and we used that to track all their laps as we were working on everything as we went. So the Pacer laps, what we would do was as they logged in laps, we would keep a tally of them. And when they hit certain markers, they would earn a certificate. So for us, it was every 500 laps, they were able to earn a certificate for the next level. And eventually, if you got 3,000 laps, we would actually trace your footprint, and we would retire the footprint on the wall. If you look on that slide there, you can kind of peek through and you see that there's a footprint, and there's different stars and diamonds and things that went with it. And it was a really cool idea that got a lot of kids really excited about running. The other part was we were changing the culture of our gym. We wanted it to be a place where you came in, you could be a part of it. And much like you would retire banners at a college or things like that, or numbers or those kind of things, we were retiring student footprints. So when they got to 3,000 laps, which was about the time 30 miles over their course of their career, traced their foot, retired, and they were forever a part of the gym history. The young lady you see there in the picture with me, her name is Annabelle, and she's the all-time record holder. She ran 100 miles over the course of her career, and she was a kid who never considered sport at all. She was a dancer. And one of the neat things about that is she said, "Coach, this is something I could do." And eventually, I'm not sure if this is good, she gave up dance, but she became a cross-country runner. She's currently ranked number 3 in the state. And that started with someone who had no interest in it, just by taking those first initial steps and logging in laps and working on goals. And it allowed me to teach kids how to do things, and not in an instant gratification, but over time. So that's what this screen's about. Can we go to the next slide? Eventually, what we wanted to do is to impact the fitness scores even more. And so the idea I came up with was a fitness bowl, much like what you would think of as a traditional gymnastics meet. We would have the fitnessgram events, and we would do a competition, and one that would be healthy, that we would teach our kids. And my kids at the time at Hyatt Park really struggled with competing the right way without getting upset and doing all the things. And I thought, I can run from this, or I could tackle it head on. And we can not only get better at fitness, but we can learn how to be great sports, appreciate other people, and that kind of thing. And so the fitness bowl was birthed. And in the beginning, when I promoted it the first few years, I had no takers, because it's all extra work that you're going to do. So I decided the first few years we did the fitness bowl at our school, Hyatt Park only. It was just us at our school, and gave us a chance to kind of do all the events. We did the pacer, we did the sit and reach, we did the flexed arm hang, we did the curl ups, and we ended up adding a broad jump to that to make 5 events. And for the very first few years, that was something that Hyatt Park did. It was our own thing. Eventually, I got some of my student teachers in the district, and we ended up getting 4 teams that are willing to do it. And our very first fitness bowl happened at Hyatt Park Elementary, I want to say in 2011, might have been 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. And we didn't know what to expect, but there was a lot of excitement. What did happen was we had tons of people show up, tons of people. So many that the next year we had to make a partnership with the high school in the area, Eau Claire High School, and they sponsored our next fitness bowl. And over the successive years, the fitness bowl grew from 4 teams up to as many as 16 teams right before COVID hit, where we had kids showing up. We had teams of 10 girls, 10 boys on each team, and they competed in all the events. It was a big hit. And not only did kids get excited about fitness, but fitness scores across the district started to exponentially change. And so it was a really neat outcoming of how that all worked. So we did that through casting a vision, pushed through opposition. We didn't have some like-minded people in the beginning. We just had to recruit people that wanted to be a part of it. And then you had to gather stakeholders and make partnerships within the community. I remember going to BILO and some different stores to help sponsor our jerseys because we didn't necessarily have money at the time for that kind of thing, making partnerships with local communities. And I remember going and making partnerships with the middle school and high school coaches. And it has been amazing. COVID hit, everything kind of took a downplay, and we built it up again afterwards. And this past year, I guess we were back up to 14 teams again. So the Fitness Bowl was a really cool outgrowth of, challenging kids on fitness and coming up with a unique way of tackling it. Can we go to the next slide? Aftercare programs. One of the things I found that was really valuable was to get involved with aftercare. As the PE teacher, especially when I was in Title I school, when I started working with aftercare, more kids came when we included physical activity and clubs and different kinds of things of that nature. So we have a Title I program that a bunch of our kids qualified. They had to be there, but they didn't necessarily have to come. They were asked to come, but the real carrot became when we started PE and aftercare. So we did that by creating a fit club, an archery club, a dance club, run clubs, ed adventure clubs. We did all kinds of different things. And what we found was we almost maxed out the kids that were supposed to be coming to the Title I aftercare program because they wanted to be a part of the club. Now, we had some ebbs and flows with different kind of clubs over the years and different partnerships, but it was a lot of fun. And then we had kids end up creating and developing skills we never thought of. When I was at Hyatt Park, a lot of the clubs that we had an education twist to it. When I came over to Satchel Ford, they became more of things like archery and dance because it wasn't necessarily for the education component. So you had to tailor make it to the clientele that you have at the time. But not only were we able to expand and get more people involved, we were able to generate revenue. So when I was at Title I, it didn't generate revenue because it was about getting kids in. When I came to Satchel Ford, we could charge for the aftercare. And then that actually allowed us to fund not only our aftercare, our PE program here, but we were able to help fund other programs and initiatives that we were going to do that helped other schools in our district. Next slide, please. Here's one of them, the disc golf team. So COVID rolls around. You had to wear a mask inside. We wanted to go outside and get some fresh air. So one of the kids came to me one day and says, "Coach, you're always talking about not being afraid to do things different that you haven't tried." And he said, "We've never done disc golf. Would you be interested in doing disc golf?" I was like, my initial response is I had no idea about what that was. It didn't kind of click with me. I didn't get it. But he said, "Coach, you asked us if we would try something different, would you?" And I said, "All right, let's give it a try, but you're going to have to help me coach it because I don't know anything about disc golf." Well, that kid's name was Connor Marsh. And Connor and I got together and I found out it was really quite fun. And we joined a competition in our district. Our district already had 2 teams that were playing disc golf because after the Fitness Bowl, we encouraged other groups of coaches started developing their own sports that they were going to do and have a little competition. So he said, "Coach, can we go join that team?" And so my goal was we're going to create our first disc golf team. But when we created the team, we were just trying not to finish last. We were just going to show up and do the best we could. And so I asked Connor, I said, "Connor, show me what to do." We made a kind of a practice schedule we did during recess, and we had once a week after school. And we started learning, and I didn't know how to calibrate it. Well, we showed up to the first competition and blew the doors off of the competition because Connor was teaching us the forehand when everyone else was doing the backhand. And so disc golf was born that day from a kid who challenged me to do something different. And it's become a staple. We actually have 2 disc golf competitions every year now, one in the fall at another school, Meadowfield. And then we built our own disc golf course in the woods behind our school with PTO funds and funds we were able to raise, different kind of fundraisers we had. We built our own 9-hole disc golf course in the woods, built solely for elementary kids. So it's geared down to their size. We got 18 holes out of it by creating 2 starting points, a red and a black starting point. for our course. And so we made an 18 hole disc golf course. And on the second hole there, you can see on that black 2, we have a U disc app where you can scan the QR code and it's on the U disc. So for disc golfers out there, it's an official course that people can play from around the state. And kids come and play on it all the time. In fact, during disc golf season, which we're in now, we have a bunch of our kids that will show up before school and play on the course before they even come in. So they're ready for our competition coming up later. But that was disc golf. Can we have our next slide? Unified Club. This has really been something amazing that we've added to our program. If I were to be honest with you, if I had a weakness about how I approach physical education, was how to maximize our use of our special ed kids. How can we get them more involved to a level similar to what we're challenging our other kids on? You know, how do we do that more effectively? And kind of the template for that came when I was at Hyatt Park. And I tell people all the time, my career is shaped by 2 teachers. One was a 5th grade teacher named Gloria Smith. The second one was a student at Hyatt Park named Albria Summons. And Albria was probably not, she was probably not my best PE student by a long stretch, but what she was really good at was she loved and cared about other people. And her gift was, you know, just caring for people. And I remember we had this one student in our class, his name was Wayne, and Wayne probably had 5 or 6 different disabilities lopped on top, from the blue helmet to visual issues, to short leg, to speech impediment. He had it all. And on the inner city, that made life very difficult for him. We spent a lot of times in those classes he came talking about how we're going to take care of each other. We're not going to make fun of each other. We're going to do things different. And I remember Albria coming up to me one day and she said, "Coach, you know, I'm not real good at PE, but can I help Wayne out on the side?" Because we end up spending so much time dealing with people picking on Wayne that we don't get stuff done. And I'm like, "You're right." And I said, "You know what, Albria, I tell you what, I'm going to coach you up. You coach Wayne on the side, and I'll check in with you, and I'll keep everybody else going." Well, I figured that relationship and that would last a couple weeks, if that, and then kind of fade out, but it didn't. And a really cool thing I saw was the light in Wayne's eyes just really came on. He just really became a part of it. And as we started to move along, Wayne got that one-on-one instruction from a student that was with me while I kept everything else moving along, the other 50 students. And Aubrey and I would start to meet before class and come up with special powers we would give to Wayne for whatever unit we're on. So what special power did Wayne get that no one else had? And for example, like when we did our basketball unit, I mean, everyone there said he wants to play basketball, but very few of them at elementary play basketball really well. But Wayne, we gave him the power. If he could hit the goal or the net, it was a score for Wayne. If it made it in, it was a 3-pointer for Wayne. Well, Wayne ended up being our high scorer because he could hit the net and other people weren't even making the basket. So Wayne became an instant celebrity with a lot of our units. And then the kids started asking, can we give Wayne special powers? What powers can we give Wayne? And then everyone wanted Wayne on the team. So what ended up starting as the person no one wanted to be involved with and picked on, he ended up being the kid that everyone wanted to have. And so that idea of inclusion and partnership was really stirred in my heart, but I wasn't able to bring that to full fruition at our school at Satchel Ford until we brought Coach Payne on. And Coach Payne was a former student teacher of mine that helped me with the fitness ball. And when we had an opening over here, I knew that that was a strength of his. He has a real passion for working with the special needs community, Special Olympics, unified clubs, but he didn't really have the funds or the platform to do that. And so when we brought him on board, it was like, hey, Chris, I'm cutting you loose, man. Whatever you want to do, however you can do it, let's do it. And so you see in the foreground there, the blue shirts, that was our initial unified club. Those are all 4th and 5th graders that gave up one recess a week to go unify with a special needs student, take them through recess. And when they come to class, they're their assistant coach, their personal coach, and help with all that they're doing. And then, of course, he would have other events that we would do on weekends. We'd have unified bocce ball. We'd have unified kickball games, different kind of things of that nature. So expanding and to be able to serve not only our kids who are really good in sports and athletics, but also kids who are really good at caring and loving on others and in our special needs community. So that was a big win for our school in creating a different club. Obviously, again, just based out of a need. There's a problem, let's solve it, let's create something to do that. Can we do our next slide? So when we're talking about programs, one of the things I learned is you have to promote it. If you don't promote it, then a lot of times it's not going to take off and get going. So here's some of our classic ways we've kind of promoted our program over the year. We have a senior day. And so our school feeds a local high school, AC Flora High School. And if you look in the top picture, you'll see some of the former graduates. Those are all kids who graduated from Flora that particular year, and they came back to get their picture taken with their former footprint where they started. And one of the cool things we do is we take a picture of that footprint when they graduate, and we send it to them through the district email. And a lot of them come back and want to get their picture, and they wear the college shirt from where they're going to end up going. So it's been really cool seeing the full breadth of starting here in elementary school all the way to graduating, and the value that they've maintained for what started back in elementary school. We also post banners in our gym. So when the kids win one of the district competitions, we'll put their names up and the picture of their program. And so we have the footprints on the wall. We have the banners up on the wall. And when the kids come in, they're like, hey, this place is different. This place is special. And it's my turn to be a part of something bigger than me. And so we also had it's Coach and I in the middle, Coach Payne and I with the Palmy Award. On the bottom is Job Shadow Day. So every February we have the Job Shadow Day, and the request line goes crazy. And in the beginning, Coach Payne and I said we wouldn't say no. Well, we ended up with 25 shadows one day, and that was not fun. So we had to end up limiting how many shadows we get, but kids are always wanting to come back and being a part of the culture that we have set up there. And so these are our job shadows from last year. There's high school and middle school students who are coming back, and, you know, they got to tell their experience there and then be a part of our class and be co-teachers. We also make partnerships with celebrities or different community people. One of our partnerships was with a former student from the area who was Miss South Carolina. She came over and helped us with a health initiative. She spent some time with our kids, and she participated in some of our events. So these are some of the really cool things that we have done to promote our program. Now, Coach Payne does take it to the next level. He does some things on social media. I stay out of that, but he does some of that, and that takes it to a whole different level. But promotion of your program is really important. Next slide. Community involvement. Partnerships are made at all levels, not only with former student teachers, not only with your teachers and peers, your admins, your district level people, but you need to be out in the community. So for me, one of the things I did was I started coaching to teach my son the values I wanted him to learn. I started coaching some of his teams, and I would take kids from the school that had different kind of struggles or challenges, and we would make a team. In the center picture, this is a picture when I was at Hyatt Park, and I had several kids from Hyatt Park and my son in the foreground. There's a few other kids that were on the team. We got on a flag football team, and we ran flag football teams and did kind of things. Those kids would come visit, and we would go out to eat afterwards, but being involved with our kids. So coaching some of our kids from our school. We also, now later in life, now that my kids are out the door, I pick one night a week and I go into the community and I go see a game. I might go to a dance that a kid has, or a play, or a softball game, or a flag football game, or there might be some kids playing at the high school level. And it's just really neat to always go back and look and see and be seen. And they're always surprised. Hey, there's Coach. And they'll come over and hug you. And just being a part of that culture that we've been part of, it becomes a big family. So community involvement is a big deal. Next slide. So key ideas I want to kind of leave you with. Be reflective of your practices and adjust when you need. If you have a problem, then look for solutions, and don't be afraid to try something different that maybe no one else has done. Second, be creative. Think outside the box. Most of the things that we're doing are not standard, traditional, or part of our job description. But being creative and making it fun is really done well for us. We're going to build coalitions. So you have to build teams in your community, inside your school, with parents, with all kinds of different stakeholders. Identify the resources that you have available. In different communities, you have different things that you can do. Don't be afraid to be different. Uh, it can be awkward in the start. It could be, a lot of people can say no, but push through. If you got something that benefits kids and gets them excited, I would follow it. And then be willing to promote your program and all the ways that that takes shape and form. All right. The last slide, I think, has some of my contact information. So there's just a couple pictures. That's our pickleball team down at the bottom. We started pickleball recently. That was a new one. Fitness team at the top, and our disc golf. So lots of different things. If you have questions, you want to follow up on that, I'd love to help you out with a lot of that stuff. So appreciate it. Thank you for listening, and hopefully that was helpful.
Thank you, Sean. That was phenomenal. That's exactly what I thought it was going to be. Again, if y'all have questions for Sean or for Dr. Herring, please feel free to put those in the chat. And if you have a question that you want to ask them one-on-one, maybe offline, they shared their emails. And then Sean and Dr. Herring, if y'all wouldn't also maybe mind putting your emails in the chat, if you feel comfortable with that. Again, if people have something specific they want to follow up with you on, it'd be easy for them to access that. While you're sharing your email in the chat, and before I move along, and to give a little bit of space in case folks do have some things they want to add to the chat right now for the two of you, I just want to point out, Sean, something that stood out to me is that you mentioned how you turned what you called a quote unquote a weakness, so trying to figure out how to successfully serve all the students in your physical education classroom, into a strength. Like I really love that you did that. And I kind of like picked up on some themes while you were speaking about, you talked about innovative solutions and not being afraid to fail. And I think that's why you guys have had so much success. One, and like Dr. Herring said, building that family, having that culture in the school, as well as what you talked about outside of the school. And then two, having that safety in place, probably because you have surrounded yourself with a family, so you're in a safe space to do those creative, innovative things, even if they don't come to fruition. So that's something that really stood out to me in the work that you do. And then I also want to mention that I think you've done a phenomenal job passing that along to your to the folks that you have mentored. So, like you mentioned, Coach Payne, and I've had the honor to work with Coach Payne through Scaford initiatives, and he is an excellent person to work with and an amazing physical education teacher. And I think we can thank you for that, Sean. So we appreciate all that you do. But I'm not seeing any questions, but I do have a question for both of you. Is there anything that you have learned from your experiences in building these school cultures and having the successes that you've had? Anything you've learned that you wish you knew at the beginning of your journey?
Dr. Herring, I'll let you go first.
Okay, thank you. Just some of the resources, and I know Coach Norris, you mentioned them too. There's just so many resources. I know you mentioned several in your slide. I had some in my slides, like having, if I knew where to find them, navigate them a lot smoother in the beginning, I think that would have helped. Like having a lump sum, having a location where I can find all of these different types of resources that we all mentioned, instead of having to go to these different sites. Because it even with the technology at the beginning, we have to explain this to our successors, like the Coach Paynes and things. It's hard for us to even explain if we can't specifically navigate through how to give them all of these resources. So a one-shot area to where we can find everything would be helpful.
That's good information to work on. Thank you, Dr. Herring.
Well,
Sean?
what's been very interesting, here I am and 28 years into this. There's so much available now through technology. So you can get things so quickly. Like it was really a lot more difficult in the beginning because you didn't have the ability to connect the dots as quickly and find things as easily. So for me, as I guess I'm an old timer now, is not to be afraid of the technology piece, to get out there in the technology, and to it just opens up a lot of different areas. I mean, I remember I was talking to one of my other student teachers who went on, and he was trying to fund his fitness team one time. And so he did something online where people sent money to him for his team. I forgot what it was, but there's just all kinds of options out there to do things. So I would say if you're on the older end of it, don't be afraid of the technology. Look at it and get involved with it. That's the beauty of having student teachers, is they're always bringing new stuff, new ideas into the area that I haven't considered.
I love that. That's a good one too, Sean. And another thing I picked up listening to you, Sean, is identifying the strengths in other people and using them and uplifting them. And the technology piece, that's one. Your story about I wrote it down. Arabia. Don't let me say her name wrong.
Aubria.
Aria, yeah, yeah. You helped identify her strength and helped her flourish in it. So that's phenomenal. We do have a question from Dr. Bowens that's in the chat. I'm gonna give y'all some time for both of you to respond to this one. So, what roles do your administrators play in the wellness culture at your schools?
At our school, our administrators are our communication coordinators. The majority of our communication about the health and wellness sectors, once we meet as a community, they are responsible for communicating that information out, whether it's through the newsletters, whether it's through social media. Believe it or not, our admins are geniuses at this new TikTok thing. But any type of communication that we have to get out, it comes from our admin, and they give us their full support, and they communicate it just like we are advocates for health and wellness. It sounds the same as if it was coming from us. So they are our communicators.
I think
That's
I
great
think
to
for
hear.
I think for us, the administrators have allowed us to be creative and do our jobs. So they haven't overmanaged or overregulated. They check in with us and make sure we're staying between the lines, of course, but really just enabling us to be professionals. And I think that has been something that has been really good for us. We have an idea, we go run it by them, and they say, "Hey, good idea, roll with it." And they don't try to micromanage it. It hasn't always been the case in my career, but nothing can stifle a culture than micromanaging someone who's creative. And so that's a tough one, but they've done that well here where I've been.
Thank you. Thank you both so much, Dr. Herring and Sean. This has been, I say it with every one of our webinars, but I always mean it. I always learn so much, and I know our audience members appreciate it. So if you show a little bit of last minute love for our speakers today, again, please feel free to reach out to them with any questions you have. If you saw something and you're like, man, how do we get that in our school, our community, our district? I know they are more than happy to help set that up for y'all, talk you through it. So please feel free to reach out to them. And then we'll go to our next slide as well. So they mentioned being PAMI winners. In case that acronym is new to you, it stands for the Physical Adeptness and Literacy Model Institution. This is a newer award that's coming from SCAFER, the South Carolina Alliance for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance, from that state alliance. And it is to recognize schools across our state who are doing a phenomenal job of embedding school wellness and physical fitness and health and well-being in their school culture. And these two folks that you heard from today are part of our first time we did it, winners, our regional winners, and then Legacy Early College being our first overall state winner in this new award system. So if it's something that you're interested in doing, this is the information for it. I'll also put the link in the chat. It will also go out with the follow-up email so that you'll have access to it. There is no deadline. It's a rolling application. And even if your school doesn't become recognized as a PAMI winner, this is also a way for us at the state level to collect success stories like what you heard today from these two schools, to collect your success stories so that we can share them with different audiences across the state. So even if you don't become a PAMI award recipient, we still want to share your success stories and spotlight the amazing work that you're doing. So we just encourage you to take a look at this application. If you don't think you're the right person for it, but you know who is, maybe you're not a PE teacher, but you're friends with your PE teacher, send it to them and have them take a look at it. And then on the next slide, I just want to again thank my family. You guys mentioned family. I also have family. This is my Connecting Communities and Schools webinar series family. I just want to thank them because without them, this series would not be the success that it's been since 2022. They have been phenomenal to work with. And while we are wrapping up this school year, we do plan on working over the summer so that we can provide y'all with another series of excellent speakers from across the state to learn more about all of the amazing work that's going on in the schools and in the communities that we have. And then the final slide I have to share with y'all today is just the flyer for next month's webinar. So this will be part 2 of our 2-part series of how to be an award-winning school for student health. You're going to hear from Trevor Macy at RB Stall High School in Charleston County School District. He was our Low Country Palmy Regional winner. And then you're also going to learn from Freddie Cohen, a physical education teacher at Berry Shoals Elementary School in Spartanburg 5, another one of those rock star physical education teachers in our state. So registration is already open for that one, and we hope that we see you again back in May. And with that, just thank you again for your time and for being a part of our Connecting Communities and Schools webinar family. And please enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.